Southern rock-inspired band Matney have just released their single All Fired Up, following the release of its video, which came out on the 26th of January 2024. The track features a hypnotic beat and gusty guitar riff with raw emotional lyrics channeled through a unique vocal sound. The results reflect a southern rock, outlaw country, bluesy rockin' style, and the video is a must to watch. And Mike of the group Matney joins us now. How are you doing, Mike?
Hi, Phil. Thanks for having me on this morning.
No problem at all. It's a pleasure having you on the show. And where am I speaking to you? Whereabouts are you now? I can see a drum kit in the background there. For you listeners there, I can see a drum kit here.
Yeah, this is my studio. I've got a little studio on my farm, and I'm talking to you from Southwest Virginia, a little town called Richlands.
Where's it called? Witchlands?
Yeah, it's called Richlands. We're a little town. It's rural Southwest Virginia. We're a little coal mining town.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. Well, where I'm from, South Shields, where I'm speaking to you from, that's actually an ex kind of colliery, with all the coal mining and all that. So, yes, it's a bit of community spirit you have there, probably. Same as us over there in Virginia.
Probably so.
Indeed. Now, I must congratulate you on a fabulous rock track, which is something we really need today with your brand new single, All Fired Up. Now, for listeners who are just discovering Matney's music, when did you all get together as a band?
Well, actually, this project is kind of the way it started is when I got up with Stevie Salas. Stevie Salas is my producer on this, and he's like a multi-platinum artist. And I reached out to Stevie online, and we had a mutual friend. I played in a band called Zedhead out of Canada, a blues rock band.
Wow.
And Zedhead, they're on the Roulette label too, by the way.
Right.
One of the players, Neil Chapman, knew Stevie, and he contacted I put on Facebook when I talked to Stevie. I was so excited about it. I wrote, "Hey, I just talked to Stevie Salas." And one of my buddies in Zedhead, he wrote back, he said, "Well, tell Stevie I said hi." So He called Stevie on my behalf, and it started about like a year and a half, 2-year process. And anyway, I ended up working with Stevie. Stevie produced this album for me, and Stevie played guitar on it, and Stevie helped me co-write the songs. So for me, the whole the new Matney album is all about working with Stevie Salas.
Indeed. And the album, when's that going to be out, your new album?
Well, the good folks at Roulette are telling me that it's going to be out sometime, maybe in April, early spring, or late spring, early summer. Be in April sometime, I think. April, maybe early May. But that's almost a little bit above my pay grade.
Right.
So.
Okay. Yeah, we'll look forward to getting a copy of that and hopefully playing it on one of my radio shows, Mike.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That would be excellent. Now, the name Michael Matney is a hit for members of the underground post-punk scene, as well as Southern rock and your earlier act, White Boy and the Average Rock Band, which has become a cult hit with record collectors and post-punk heads, with original pressings of your albums going for more than $1,000 each. And fans of Southern rock may recognise you from your time as guitarist for the icon David Allan Coe. What was it like having your music from the past ventures that you've been involved with being classed as so rare?
Man, it's kind of a little story that goes with that. You want to hear the little story?
Yes, please.
All right. Well, so I'm from this small coal mining town, and back when I was 18 years old, there was a guy who had a little record store here, and he would let me. He had a little 4-track recorder in the back room, and I would work during the day, and he'd let me go back there and record at night. And so we saved up our yard mowing money and had this album, pressed, and it was stuff that I'd wrote and played. I played the instruments on and wrote the songs. We had those pressed up. Only had 250 copies of it pressed up. Okay, now here's this is cool. So I'm gonna connect it up for you. You know, you was talking about mining over there. Well, there was a guy from over there in UK moved over here in my hometown. I went to school with his boys, and he was selling mining equipment. Well, the guy happened to be a record collector too. So 10 years after I put the album out, he calls me up, and I'm at school, and he says, "Hey," he says, "you got any more copies of that album?" He says, "I'll give you $50 a piece for them." So I was like, "What?" So I went around to some of my buddies and got a few. I didn't have any copies myself left at that time. So
oh, no.
I went and gathered up a few copies. So I went to him, and he showed me, this was back in the 90s. He showed me where it was on collector's list and stuff for like $125 a copy. And I thought, whoa. Oh, wow. So since then, it's been bootlegged twice. I've signed with Heaven and Hell Records, Jeremy Hand. I signed with him in 2018, I think, and for a couple of years. And it just recently, last spring, I signed again with Riding Easy Records out of Los Angeles. And now collectors, it's up over $1,000 a copy, which doesn't do me a whole lot of good because I don't have a copy. But it's good. It's fun to talk about.
And I mean, when you were recording in there, what was it like? So it was a 4-track, and then did they cut the record there as you were actually, after you just finished recording it on the 4-track?
So if I'm understanding, you're asking me what it was like to record on a 4-track? I didn't hear. I'm sorry. I didn't.
Yeah. Did you cut the record as soon as you had recorded on the 4-track? Did they actually press it there and then?
Yes, actually, the story was
like Sun Records did by Elvis.
the story goes, I had to go in and get my tapes out. The guy that I was recording with passed away, and his kids come in and took over the store and everything. And anyway, I had to go in and barely got out with my tapes. And again, we saved up our yard mowing money and went and done it. So it was raw. I mean, it was raw 4-track recording, and that's what people liked about it. I mean, it was that really punk raw sound, and hard to get that back these days.
Yes. Now, in your studio that you have there, do you have like any kind of mixing desk or anything which has got like 200 channels, which most of them that you don't use?
Yeah, well, my studio, my wife calls it the doghouse because she sends me down. Was you mad at me? But no, this is just a little project studio. Now, the studio that we recorded the Matney project in, I flew to Austin, Texas, and there was a studio called Assembly Line Studios there, and Kevin Gutierrez runs that studio. And man, I mean, he has worked with Paul McCartney and Shinedown, and this guy is just, I mean, he really good, great to work with, and him and Stevie worked so good together. So that was probably one of the nicer studios I've ever been in, to be honest.
Yeah. Excellent.
He has more stuff. I mean, it's like,
Yeah, it's great when you find a great studio which has got a great atmosphere. And I suppose when you're in that kind of environment, you can be kind of more creative because you're more relaxed.
To be honest with you, I was out of my comfort zone because these guys are like up here. I mean, I would set up. There's actually an apartment over top of Assembly Line Studios where you can stay at when you're recording there, and I would sit up there and read Stevie's book. Man, if you haven't read Stevie's book, you got to read it. I would sit there and read the book, and then I would go down and work with him, and it was like, man, I can't believe I'm working with this guy. So. Yeah, the atmosphere there, I mean, it was very energized.
Very energized, which is excellent, which is obviously, it all comes out in your music as well. Now, you have performed in legendary clubs in the States as David Allan Coe's guitarist. Why don't you tell us about your most memorable performance and where you visited?
Listen, my time with David Allan Coe was short. And the way I got that gig is I was playing in a band called Taboo with a friend of mine, Chris Famous, back in the 80s. And right out of school, as a matter of fact. Well, Chris went on to become David Allan Coe's band leader. And actually, I took, on a side note, I took Ron Keel. You guys will know Ron Keel from Keel. I took his place in Chris's band when he went off to form Steeler. So, to be in Steeler. So, anyway, Chris called me years later, and I'm back home, and he says, hey, he said, how would you like to come out and play for David Allan Coe? And I said, hey, great. He said, all right, be there next week, and we're opening for Waylon Jennings. I'm like, what?
Wow.
So I had to run out and, and buy all David Allan Coe's albums and try to learn what I could, Anyway, that first performance with David, I was so nervous. And so I actually seen David out in the auditorium before we played, and I said, hey, David, I'll be playing guitar for you today. My name's Mike. I said, what songs are we going to be playing? And he looked at me and he said, you'll know them when I start them, and turned and walked away. And I was like, oh. So that day I got to eat dinner with Waylon and stuff, and Jesse, and then we went out and played, and I was scared to death. But I only got to play with him for like a couple of weeks. We toured. There was like 3-4 shows, and then I actually, and I'm kind of hesitant to say this, but I actually got fired from David Allan Coe's band because I was young and I was too wild.
Right.
So you can imagine how wild you are if you get fired from David Allan Coe's band.
So, what did Waylon think?
Oh, he was a nice guy, man. I mean, him and Jesse, they were good people, and that was for me. I mean, getting to meet an icon like that,
Indeed, I mean, Waylon Jennings is totally. I mean, he's a legend, really. I mean, obviously here in the United Kingdom, here we know him obviously of singing the Dukes of Hazzard theme, but he's a great artist, and it must have been wonderful.
Yeah, it was fun. Nerve-wracking, but it was fun to meet him, and travel with David. And I really appreciate the opportunity that David gave me and that Chris got for me. So, yeah.
So you must have had a lot of lessons learned when you were fired from that, the touring.
I did.
Life lessons learned.
Yes. That was the beginning of the end of my my
being wild, too wild. Excellent. Acting like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Pardon?
Acting like the Dukes of Hazzard. A bit wild.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now you've got that guitar with you there. Are you going to be playing a little bit of a tune for it?
Oh no, I was just sitting here noodling a little bit before the meeting.
Oh, were you? All right, okay. I'll be on then.
I've got to put a battery in it. Funny story. This actually is a Schecter, and right. I brought the Schecter into the session down there in Texas, and Stevie says, "Oh no, not a Schecter." But he says, my brother-in-law plays Schecter. Said he plays I think it was his brother-in-law, for the Flock of Seagulls. And he says, he plays Schecter, yeah. So before it was over with, Stevie had actually laid some stuff down with the guitar. And I think he likes it, but he never did it.
Hey, yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. So do you use that in a lot of your sessions and a lot of your touring?
I actually had an endorsement from a guitar company called TTM. And I've got several of those guitars, but I think that company is out of business. So I tried to play those when I played live and stuff. But as far as recording, I like the way the Schecter sounds. But we used a lot. And I'll say this right fast. Stevie, I was hoping that Stevie would play on some tracks in this album. Yeah. And if I could just get him to play on one track. Well, when the process got started, next thing I know, he got deeply involved in it, and he's playing on all the tracks of the album. Well, his guitar collection, but he's got this one Strat that he's played on everybody's stuff. He's played it on Mick Jagger's stuff. He's played it on Justin Timberlake's stuff, George Clinton stuff. And his brother built this guitar for him while he was in high school. And he slept with this guitar, kept this guitar forever, and, man, when he plays that Strat, I mean, you can hear it on the album. I mean, it just talks to you, so.
Yeah, we'll look forward to hearing that. Absolutely fantastic.
Bring the hair up on your arms.
Excellent. Now, your new single, All Fired Up, is, as you've mentioned, produced by Stevie Salas, who also co-wrote the single and provided lead guitar. Now, the multi-platinum producer has had records for musicians like, as you mentioned, Justin Timberlake and Mick Jagger, and also executive produced the documentary Rumble, The Indians Who Rocked the World, which won the special jury award for masterful storytelling at the Sundance Film Festival in 2017. What was it like? I mean, we've only touched on this a little bit. What was it like recording and writing the single, All Fired Up, with such a fine producer, Steve Salas?
Well, before I tell you about Stevie, let me back up on one thing. The actual lead solo on All Fired Up was done by a Russian guy, Konstantin, I hope I get his last name, Yakumovich, that lives in China. Just real quick story. He the genesis of this song, All Fired Up, was done during COVID and COVID lockdown, and I did it with some guys online. Constantine and a guy from Canada, a bass player, John Burkett, and a guy from playing drums, Otto Lagorvia. I can't pronounce his last name. But anyway, so he actually put and we were able, when we got to the studio, Stevie did surgery on the song. We rewrote the song, did everything, but we did keep the solo from Constantine because it was so cool. Other than that, Stevie plays the guitars on the other guitars on the track, plays guitars on all the other songs and everything. But for that one lick, I want to give him credit for it because it was such an amazing solo. Now, you ask about Stevie working in the studio with him. I had read up articles and stuff. I read an article about Taylor Hawkins working with him. And I read people to say he's really aggressive in the studio. He knows what he wants, and he's going to get it out of you one way or the other. So it's a little bit intimidating working with him because of his background and stuff. But Stevie's a ball of energy, and he's light years ahead of you in his thinking. I mean, he's already hanging pictures on the wall while you're building the house. He knows what he's doing, and so that part of it is great because you feel comfortable. You feel you're in good hands. But he is going to drill you until you get what he wants out of you.
Yes,
and,
yes.
That part's a little intimidating.
So he's a little bit like, I've spoke to somebody recently who actually was talking about Phil Spector. And Phil Spector, apparently he was the one that would, you would be in the studio till goodness knows what time in the morning. You could be doing 12-hour days or more, and he would get you to do it again and again and again. And if it seems, he would just, get one of his takes, and he would take the first one and put that out.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That must be a common theme. Stevie would, of course, he would, doing vocals was probably the worst because he would ride you in. But at the same time, it made you be a better. I remember in the article of Taylor Hawkins, he would talk about, Stevie standing on the side of the stage, hollering at him, but at the same time, he said he felt so much love and respect for him because he drew that out of him, and made him a better artist. I think Stevie did that for me, and I think it shows in the album. So I have much respect for the guy.
Yeah, it was Richard Anthony Houston I was speaking to of the Raw band, who had a hit called Clouds Across the Moon, and he was mentioning about Phil Spector-style and things. So I mean, it's just amazing what can come out from somebody who can be known as a little bit a bit like with the ruling with the iron fist, but at the same time getting the guts out.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. Stevie is. I mean, he's fun to work with. You know what I'm saying? He's
professional.
He's a very personable guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's all business in the studio. I mean, that's his thing. And the dude probably has enough gold records to fill another house. You know,
wow.
to build a house. I mean, he's just done so much. You know, I'm just honored to be, to have worked with him.
Excellent. And hopefully you'll work with him again in the future as well with your future projects. Now, the video for the single All Fired Up, where did you shoot it? Because it looked great.
Oh, well, thank you. I had talked to, working with Kevin at Assembly Line Studios, Kevin Gutierrez. He does video and stuff too. But we talked and discussed it, and he thought it best. He sent me to a friend of his called Tom Flynn in New York City, and actually out in Long Island. And Tom Flynn has did videos for just like some of the bigger bands, Black Stone Cherry, Buck Cherry, Riot. This guy's really good. So we flew up there to Long Island and worked with Tom. And for me, I had never done any a video or anything like on that level. I mean, it was kind of that moving up for me. Now, that being said, we do have a new one coming out with this new single, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Go ahead.
Okay. So, well, that's it. So, with the new video be coming out on YouTube as well, like the one that's out there at the moment.
It is, and I don't know if I'm even supposed to be talking about it yet.
Oh, right. Well, you've got an exclusive here, listeners. From Mike, thank you very much, Mike. We'll not discuss any more about it then. We'll wait for the press release.
The lady at the record company by Van, she's so nice, but I think I drive her crazy sometimes because I'll get ahead of her on stuff, So
you've given a teaser, so listeners there, and people are watching this video eventually, then that's a bit of an exclusive for you there. Now, the vinyl revival is upon us, Mike. Now, what is your favorite record that you've ever bought?
Oh my goodness. Boy, that's a good question. My favorite record that I've ever bought. Probably looking back, the two of the albums that I can remember the vinyl so vividly is the Tres Hombres album, ZZ Top, Billy Gibbons. I mean, I played that till the grooves, wore out, that, trying to learn those licks. And I remember the Kiss Live album. Wow. Remember the first Kiss Live album? Man, I played that one too like crazy. And that's just two pieces of vinyl that made an impression on me.
It's excellent. And is there any particular track that you would go to if you were going to play me a ZZ Top track off an album? Which track would be your favorite?
Oh my goodness.
There's so many.
Yeah, that's kind of hard. It's either going to have to be Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers or LaGrange.
Excellent. Well, yeah. Excellent choices, Mike. Excellent. Now, do you have any future projects coming up that you can tell us about?
Future projects coming up? Is that what you...
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I've got to work my way through this one. We've got so much going on with this. I mean, I think my understanding is there's another 1 to 2 singles coming out over the next couple of months, and then the album will be out in April. And then I'm working with my band now, and these guys they're all very top-notch pro musicians, and we're getting ready to do a tour. So I think the record company and some people over in the UK are setting us up to come over there and see you guys. And I can't wait. I've never been over there. And then I think we're going to do some stuff up through the States and Canada and stuff too. So that's kind of got me just really, really tied up. And I'm still small fries, so a lot of this is DIY. So I'm having to do, there's a lot to this. I mean, it's get up of a morning and work all day and go to bed at night, doing the music stuff. that being said, I mean, I really, Stevie said, and I know that I need to start focusing on the next album. You know, it's hard to do all that, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, you've just got to keep on with the current project at the moment, which is going to be a fantastic success. And we're in the UK, is there any, you've got a website that listeners can go to find out information about where you're going to be visiting when you come to the UK?
Oh, a website. Absolutely. It's called Matney.rocks. So it's just MATNEY.rocks.
And have you got social media on there as well? How's it got links?
I do. We have a Facebook page. Please come and follow us on Facebook. I need the followers. Please come follow us on Facebook. And we've got Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. And I've got some people that are helping me with that because it's just so much to keep your hands on. So please hit us up and follow us. I mean, yes, that would be awesome. That'd be a great way to keep up with us. And there's some email links on the web page, and of course Roulette Records has a good website too, but we've got a YouTube page. Go out and check us out on a YouTube channel. I mean, there's stuff coming out on that, going to be coming out pretty regular. So yeah, please, and you know, people can message me. I'm here. So
excellent. So it's Matney.rocks. Get yourself over there today. Now, unfortunately, we've run out of time. Mike, it's been such a privilege speaking to you. And finally, would it be possible for you to introduce your latest single?
Oh, absolutely. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. This is Mike Matney from the band Matney. You're fixing to listen to my latest single, All Fired Up, on Roulette Records.
That's excellent, Mike. Thank you so much for joining me on the show, and hopefully I'll catch you at one of the shows in the UK.
Be awesome. It would be great, Phil. Thank you, sir.
No problem at all. All the best. See you soon.
All right. See you soon.